Hey guys, welcome back. It can be hard to point to bad qualities of our favorite heroes because, for the most part, they're good at everything. And one of those things is parenting. However, there's a problem with being a superhero that often leads to unfortunately bad parenting. If you stay in your child's life, you endanger them, but if you send them away, you're being neglectful. While there's definitely a good middle ground to find, not a lot of superhero parents find it, often leading to either estrangement or death. I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie with Top 10 Nerd, and here are the top 10 superheroes who are bad parents. Number 10. Wonder Woman of Earth 31. This Wonder Woman is from a future Earth where Lex Luthor and Brainiac are in control of the planet. Superman and Wonder Woman have a daughter named Lara. She has all the powers of Superman and the Amazonian powers, and the pair work together to help her have a solid, nurtured childhood where she could develop normally. Just kidding. They sent her away and let her get a weird narcissistic vision where she sees those less powerful than herself as bad. Then they use her as bait to spring a trap. While this also would qualify Superman as a bad parent, you kinda have to expect that from Superman because he's often an entitled jerk who doesn't think too much about other people. But Wonder Woman should really know better. To be clear, this isn't a male-female thing, she's just less naive in general than Supes, so she should know that they're hurting their daughter. Number 9. Roy Harper. Green Arrow's sidekick, Roy Harper, is a former drug addict who decided that it would be wise to have a child with a supervillain Cheshire. Then he took the child in and put it into a bunch of danger. While it's good that Roy kicked the drug habit, having a kid with a villain and then putting it in harm's way is not the most responsible parenting. Number 8. The Comedian. The Comedian is a pretty lousy parent for a few reasons. First, the fact that he had previously attempted to force the mother of his child to have sex definitely hurts his chances of being world's best dad. It also single-handedly made me go from loving him as a character to hating him, but I digress. Second, he is highly uninvolved in his daughter's life. While this is largely due to Sally Jupiter's understandable refusal to let her see him, he can't really complain because of the whole forced sex thing. Plus, he often hits on his daughter, and whether or not he knows she's his, it's not the most fatherly thing to do. Number 7. Sally Jupiter. While the Comedian was a bad parent largely due to his lack of involvement in his daughter's life, it's Sally Jupiter's over-involvement that puts her on this list. Her daughter Lori didn't want to take up the superhero game, but was forced into it by her mother. Sally exploited her daughter, making her wear revealing outfits and fight crime even though the idea didn't appeal to her. She was basically one of those dance moms, except she wasn't making her daughter dance, she was forcing her to risk her life. Not a particularly responsible parenting decision. Number 6. Bruce Wayne. Let's be clear, I love Batman. I'm sure we all do. And a lot of his poor parenting comes from things outside of his control, like, not knowing he even had a son. So we can kind of forgive him for not being there for the son he didn't know he had. That said, even when he learns of Damian and takes him in, he doesn't do a particularly good job.
How's Damian?
See for yourself.
Vacillating between the overprotective dad and the dad who sends his son on dangerous missions, he provides Damian with an incredibly insecure childhood at a time where security may have been highly beneficial. But to give him credit, Damian was kinda tough to handle, and Bruce does have other concerns like saving the world and stuff. He does a good job of teaching Damian how to become a superhero, but neglects a lot of social skills that his son should be learning. He's absolutely a good mentor, but he's a pretty bad dad. Number 5. Reed Richards. When Reed and Susan Richards had their child after some difficulty, it was discovered that their son Franklin had incredible psionic abilities. When an Annihilus unleashed Franklin's full potential, Reed determined that the only way to save the life of everything on Earth was to put his son into a coma. While it's true that he didn't really have a choice, putting your child in a coma arguably makes you a bad father. That said, if I could turn my child off for a bit when they have a tantrum, I can't say I'd never do it. That's a joke, don't put your kids in comas. Number 4. Cyclops. You'd think Scott Summers would be a great dad. He's generally kind and sensitive with great leadership abilities. But the problem is, he's pretty mopey. It's understandable considering the awful stuff that's happened in his life, but it doesn't really matter how understandable it is if you're one of his neglected kids. Scott's neglect is especially apparent with his son Nathan, who you may know better as Cable. When Jean came back, Scott basically said, "See ya, nerd," and bailed on Nathan, who ended up getting kidnapped by Mr. Sinister. Then when he finally got his son back, he just started taking him out on missions because actual parenting is apparently too hard. I may be slightly biased because I just don't like Cyclops, but I think it's fair to say he's a pretty awful dad. Number 3. Wolverine. Logan is one hero on this list who I consider a bad dad just because of his actions, not the intent behind them. Because frankly, it wasn't really his fault. That said, he killed his kids. Yes, it was unintentional for the most part, but still. When he went to fight the Red Right Hand, he sliced his way through a number of mutants mutant bodyguards, only to find out that those bodyguards were his children. Then later, Wolverine went up against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants led by his son Daken. He unfortunately was forced to drown Daken to save the lives of many young mutants. Again, this isn't really his fault, but he's still killing his kids. And like, a lot of them. Number 2. Omni Man. Omni Man is a Viltrumite who was sent to Earth to destroy it, but instead he ended up raising a family. He has a number of powers similar to those of Superman, including super strength, flight, invulnerability, and increased lifespan. His son, Mark Grayson, became the superhero Invincible. To help his wife and child accept him, Omni Man pretended to be intent on peace rather than destruction. But when his son learned the truth and refused to go along with his plan, Omni Man beat him almost to the point of death. While he eventually turns back to the side of good, he's certainly earned his Crappy Father award. Number 1. Lobo. This is probably the most open and shut case. After returning to his home planet, he finds that hundreds of his illegitimate children have formed a battalion to take him on, and he ends up killing the ones who weren't killed by the Empire. With so many other heroes just being kinda distant or uninvolved, the siring and killing of countless children puts Lobo on the bad dad list. As a side note, he's also on the bad citizen list for killing everyone on his planet, and the bad student list for hunting down and snapping the neck of his 4th grade teacher. Plus, he's probably on Santa's naughty list because he killed Santa. Lobo's on a lot of lists, but he's awesome. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please let us know by liking and subscribing to the channel. And make sure to let me know if you disagree with any of these entries. I suspect there will be a lot of disagreement. It's a tough list that can be pretty subjective. Until next time, I'm Ron McKenzie the Fergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.